Yeah, so I'm doing something very interesting in my garden. I want this to be a food forest. I want it to be self producing, self sufficient. So I'm buying fruit trees every couple of weeks until I get every 4 meters square a fruit tree in place. I'm doing that on the entire property, piece by piece. I know fruit trees are very expensive in North America. They're very cheap here. $2, $3, $4, up to $5, sometimes $10 if it's a really exotic fruit or a bigger tree. So it's very feasible here in Ecuador to fill up your whole garden with these beautiful fruit trees. So what happens is when you have this type of production every week, um, of a very diverse set of fruit trees, you are very self sufficient. You have this ability to feed yourself, feed others, make jams, make juices. So it changes the ability for you to supply yourself. Now, what really happens is that something that most North Americans never experience is that these tomato de arbol, tree tomatoes, have had the ability to ripen in the sun. And that is the big difference when your fruits and vegetables are able to go through the whole process of ripening. They're a lot healthier for you. They're a lot better for you. They have more vitamin C, more other vitamins. They're just a better produce that'll keep you healthy a lot longer. So remember to always introduce fruit trees, fruit shrubs, gooseberries. There's so many different nuts, and if you can load your garden with biodiversity in the fruits and vegetables and fruit tree section, your garden will be a much better place that can supply you with a lot of food and produce and energy for your own well-being. Our growing season is 365 days. These avocado trees are just basically growing like crazy, and we're pruning them all the time so they're manageable. There's other fruits and produce inside here as well that is living in between these avocado trees. So we're really promoting this um, growing together and biodiverse energy in the garden itself. This is a good example of the density of this food forest scenario. We have mulberry here, whispero, and we have this beautiful lemon, a variegated lemon, and it's absolutely loaded with fruit. We have a fig tree here. So this is what I'm referring to is this really tight density of having all these fruit trees growing next to them. We have this constant drizzle coming down here in the food forest way up in the Andes, and it's keeping everything moist. What we are lacking is really intense sunshine, and it does happen. We're coming into the sunshine months now, and this tree will probably grow another 4 meters or 3 meters by the time we go through this sunny period. Produce can come in all types of different shapes and forms, from nuts to elderberry, flowers, and seeds. So there's always this push towards. We have a mango tree inside here, so there's always this push towards having this um, production diversity where you have really fresh produce any day of the year. And that's what we're trying to achieve here is by having all this diversity. So we have some type of a fruit every day of the year. That's very important to us. Yeah, we have rhubarb growing below. We have more of these naranjillas. We have another vispero here, a different type, tomato de arbol. And so there's this idea of staggering the fruit trees as well. So what that means is you plant every 6 months new fruit trees, especially these type of plants. They tend to be very wind prone. We have lots of wind here, so we need a next generation behind them so that we'll always have fruits and vegetables. The same applies for carrots. We do a 3 week stagger, and if you stagger everything, you'll be always in supply of fresh produce. It's interesting. We have a lot of fruit trees here where the leaves become secondary once the fruits are starting. So we'll have all this dieback of the leaves, and the energy will all go into the fruit. This naranji is a really good example of that. Um, wow, this is full of insects. ¿Me tienes? Yeah, grabando. Okay, absolutely full of insects. So, anyways, there's all this activity in the garden that is really going to feed us incredibly well into the future. Every garden needs a strawberry patch. Here's another example where the fruit becomes more important than the leaves, for all the energy to go into the fruit so this can ripen really well. So intermittently, we have fruit trees inside the ornamental plants, and that really adds to the biodiversity. There's another one there. So just remember to have these fruit trees built into your garden as well. Yeah. So here's another example of the density that we're after. So we have a mountain papaya here, tomato de árbol, and they're not supposed to get this big, but they are in complete shade here, and they do incredibly well. We have another nut tree here. We have pimiento. So there's really this idea of having real closeness with these fruit trees. We have another avocado over there. So there's stuff everywhere here that's going to fill in very slowly and very effectively. If I were to do this garden over again, I would have put a lot more emphasis on the fruit trees. I would have started with them. Instead, I put a lot of ornamental plants in here. I've done a lot of things wrong, but everything's catching up. I have apple trees. I have really tall avocado trees, arbol de tomate. We have all kinds of pimiento peppers inside here. So this idea of having diversity in your garden isn't really that complicated. You just have to start it. The biggest quest is having enough money to buy all these fruit trees and getting them into your garden. If you start, the fruit trees will reward you by growing for you, especially if you pay attention to them, and also give them a great starting point. Yeah, we're crossing the river here to get to some other sections. Here's another mulberry that's got needs to be staked. There's another nightshade growing in here. There's a lot of people will tell you, oh, you can't grow bananas or you can't grow. There's a close up of the those beautiful lemons, the variegated lemons, right through there. Look at the size of those things. So here's a really good example. So people will tell you you can't grow bananas here. Well, we're having no problem growing them, and they're flowering and they're producing all kinds of fruit for us. So don't listen to everybody. Push the limit a little bit on your hardiness, and you might be able to get away with growing Meyer lemons in your garden. Okay. So we have all kinds of Meyer lemons interspersed in the garden. We have Uvilia, which is a great little fruit that basically is used in a lot of restaurants. It grows almost wild here. Ecuador is famous for nightshades. Like almost everything started here in the Andes. Tomatoes, uvilias, many nightshades here that are very prolific. So we use them to our advantage. So if you look around, we have this idea that we want really the fruit to be a big part of the garden. Yeah, it's interesting having the opportunity to grow in a garden like this where it's very unusual weather, where there's very unusual fruit trees available for you to try out, makes it really an interesting process of learning your way through this new location and all the new plants that you've never seen before. The thing I really like to do is to plant in groups of minimum two. So I'll have two nut trees beside each other, pretty close, so they can pollinate really easy. Um, so look, the fruit tree and fruit shrubs and There's so much diversity in them that you can have a garden completely filled up with pears, uh, male and female if it needs to be, but you can actually fill up your garden with edible life. It's not such a hard thing to do, but you just need to make the investment and really plan it out well and have enough room to accommodate all this great life. And don't let your ornamentals rule your garden. Make sure that you have a massive amount of diverse fruit trees in your garden as well.